All right, everyone, we're here today with Jason Harris of Jerome Baker Designs. Jerome Baker Designs was one of the leading cannabis glass companies throughout the 90s and 2000s. And in 2000, there was kind of a crackdown on a lot of the glass producers in the industry. And Jerome Baker Designs, being one of the most recognized brands at that time, was kind of shut down by federal authorities. However, Jason Harris, our guest today, and CEO owner of Jerome Baker Designs, has rebuilt that company and really positioned himself as one of the leaders once more, 20 years later, 17 years later. And I really want to dig in today about that process, especially here. We're talking as coronavirus sweeps across the planet. A lot of small businesses have been closed down. And I think it's going to be real relevant for people to kind of hear your story and like see some light at the end of the tunnel for them to be able to rebuild what they've worked so hard to build. Thanks for joining us today, Jason.
Right on, Justin. Thanks so much for having me on.
My pleasure. So when it came to kind of rebuilding things, where did you start and what were some of the challenges that you faced?
When it came to rebuilding things after being arrested, the challenge is to try to work within the existing laws so that I don't get arrested again. And so that being the main focus, and then being able to carry the same logo and the same marketing concepts that we had since the beginning, and just kind of reignite those. That's the second challenge. Is because when you kind of seemingly disappear from an industry for a certain period of time and then come back into it, the main focus initially is the clientele that used to know about us. So during the 10 years down, we had to have some sort of engagement with that clientele that was, there's always new 18-year-olds in the smoking industry, or there's new now 21-year-olds coming into the thing. So you have to stay relevant with those new people buying. So those are the two main challenges.
How did you reach out to some of the clients who may have known who you were once you started to rev things back up?
So between the time when I was arrested and when I came back into the game, social media had become a thing. Before I was arrested, there was no social media, so the ability to get my voice out there within this community happened pretty quickly. It was, during the whole time I was down, I made skateboards and different kind of lifestyle things to kind of still touch base in those same circles that I was selling to initially. And I had some sort of relevance in the smoking circles because my pieces were still sought after. So when I came back in on the social media tip, it was nice because I was able to kind of let myself be heard, just by creating different hashtags or following along with other hashtags that were already existing, and kind of able to pitch in there. So that was a really big move for me, is using the social media.
I'm curious about that initial pivot when you started making skateboards and then also a lot of clothes using the same brand. Like, what gave you that idea and how important was that for you to being able to bridge the gap?
As soon as I was arrested, and all my studios and facilities were turned off and shut down, I knew that I needed to somehow maintain relevance, because I believed in my heart I could bring the thing back. I was doing too much business, and it was too cool of a niche industry to just fall away and be gone forever. So I knew that if I kept the thing relevant somehow, I could sell another product with that logo on it. The logo is JBD, Jerome Baker Designs. when I was kind of stewing on, okay, what can I really do to make this thing, at least hold something, bridge it for right now, put a patch on it just to get through my sentence, which was the house arrest followed by 5 years of federal probation. So it was like, what could I do to be legal and keep the thing relevant? And I flipped it into skateboards, Jerome Baker decks. I got a booth at ASR. I had a little skate team for a number of years, and we just kind of hit the road and did the thing, and I sold decks in the smoke shops that I had, um, business in the past. I would just use those same connections and sell them skateboards, t-shirts, hats, all this cool little lifestyle stuff. It was nickel and dime stuff for me, but it kept me floating and it kept the brand relevant. And so at that point, Jerome Baker Decks translated right into the same logo. I was able to put it across the bottom of a skateboard, and these people that smoked cannabis, that skateboarded, that really didn't want, pot leaves or kind of in your face cannabis marketing, they were able to have a skateboard and kind of tell their little, their little backstory, you know what I mean, or their underbelly showed, with this thing. So it was cool, and it kind of floated us through, and I maintained a few of my accounts by doing that, as well as, I feel like I had a certain penetration in the branding in smoke shops still throughout.
Did you use social media to promote the kind of lifestyle brand before you started revving back up the cannabis side of things?
Absolutely. We were MySpace masters. So we were all over MySpace with the skateboard thing, and we had lots of photo shoots, and I just tried to peel that skateboard vibe and that family vibe out, to the masses during that time.
And then after MySpace, what were some of the other social media outlets that you started using first?
I used a lot of Grass City forums. That's a pretty large forum in the cannabis space, and it has been since day one. We also used to use something called Toke City. There's another one, Glass Talk. These were kind of just online forums before the real Facebook thing ever hit. By the time Facebook came on, I was already dabbling back in glass, and or back in pipes, we should say, and kind of took it head on with from Facebook on. And then once Instagram popped, Instagram's, for an artist, it's a very, very nice way, very fluid way to be able to show off the artwork, show off the process, and details and everything else, and people kind of get into it that way. You don't have to, as an artist, that the work tells the story. So it's a great outlet for what we have.
So as you kind of piece back together the brand, were there any like what how did you kind of pick up any of the pieces that you had to put back together after everything kind of got shuttered? Um, like were you operating at the same website you are today back like in the late 90s, early 2000s? And then how did that kind of play out?
The website, jeromebaker.com, was seized from me, along with all my, inventory and assets and whatnot. So it was seized in Eugene, Oregon, there in 2003. And so jeromebaker.com being seized, they put a graphic on the website of an American flag, and put, on there, it's government property now, along with, I think it was, I had a few other websites. I don't know how many, but they seized them all. Ghettoweb.com, smokelab.com, some of the early retail things that I was doing. But the jeromebaker.com got seized from me, and then I just ran without a website for a while. I just kind of stayed underground. I felt like that was my place for a second, just to kind of be a good boy. And so during all that, I just did the skateboards, and kind of, I had, Jerome Baker skateboards, Jerome Baker decks, whatever it was, and that's how I sold the skateboards online. And then once I started doing the pipes again, I looked for jeromebaker.com, my old website, and lo and behold, it was for sale for $700. So how that all works, I don't know. You can look at it like a car, maybe, as gets seized from the federal government, for during your crime, and then somehow I got the car back. Um, I don't know that there's another case in existing where a website's been seized by the federal government that the owners have gotten back and use. So we are on jeromebaker.com. That's my kind of the site that I'm doing my story from, and showing my high end work. And we've opened a new website, jeromebaker.shop. That one sells my little pieces, and we're able to update that thing daily. And it sells right out of the new gallery that we have in Vegas, which is the Las Vegas Dream Factory. Um, and right now we have the Las Vegas Dream Factory open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And you know, after the quarantine is over, we're going to be back to business as usual. And we have a lot of really neat pieces in there, and we're trying to utilize a little gallery space to show off all the newest and oldest and history and the paintings and the sculptures and the whole nine. So you can view the Las Vegas Dream Factory there on Facebook at the Las Vegas Dream Factory, or on Facebook on the Jerome Baker page. I usually do some streams from the gallery to show what's newest and what's going on and what's trending in there right now.
What was the response like when you started reaching out to people and telling them that you were back online and getting things going again on the pipe side of things?
The response that I've gotten so far of just kind of getting back into it and getting the stores back um, has been super. I mean, I have friends that own stores that I've been dealing with for more than 20 years, and so they couldn't wait for me to get back doing it. And initially, I didn't have my own studio, so the only work I was able to make up until I guess 2018, I guess, is when we really started humming in Vegas. So before pre 2008, from 2003 to 2018, I was only working out of other people's studios. So I'd have to train their guys and utilize their people and their equipment and their stuff to make my work. And I would have to sacrifice a little bit of my design element, or a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Where now, since I have my own studio and my own guys, I don't have to sacrifice those design elements anymore, and we can make just killer shit. So because of that, now after we've gotten the studio set up and we're able to make custom work and whatever people want, everybody's extremely been extremely well responsive, and extremely hyped on being able to get this kind of glass now. We have really high end capabilities now, so people are psyched.
What was the importance of using other people's studios while you kind of got things back up?
Well, there's a couple parts of it. One of it is because I was doing it for so long. I had such a big group going. We had such a revenue moving. I had a good reputation with a lot of people that had studios or factories, so they were able to they showed me respect by saying, come in and use my gear, use my thing. They'll charge me minimum, and we can make it work. So that's one of the important things, is that we had a mutual respect, and there's a certain family vibe between us with the people that I worked with through that time. The other part is that there would have been no other way. I couldn't get my pieces made from people just calling in an order. I have to we have to go over it, and it had to be specific to me. So it was really important that I get the right people that could work with me, because during that time there was some good factories in America. Now there's not many more factories. Everything got outsourced to China or wherever else. So it's not like there's a lot of factories that I could go to now. So thank God I got my own space, and now it's invaluable. I couldn't do it at anybody else's place anymore.
When did things start picking up on social media, and like which platform, and why do you think it started picking up on social media? Because I mean, you've got tons of followers on Instagram. Like, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but like, let's see if I can pull it up. It's like what? Let's find out. We got it right here. 87,000. Like, when did
Uh,
on Instagram, when did things start picking up there, and like why do you think it did?
I think that a platform like Instagram or any of these social medias, you have to kind of you kind of have to work it in most situations. Maybe like Kylie Jenner, or certain people don't have to really push it too hard. But I think that the majority of it, if you want to build it and you want to build a following that that follows you and doesn't unfollow you for stupid reasons, right? You got to engage them somehow. So I think that initially, Facebook was great. We got moving with Facebook, but again, I said earlier, Instagram for an artist was a little bit easier to kind of, you show a picture and it kind of really tells your story of what you're doing. I think that if you reply to comments, if you engage your audience in a number of different ways. I mean, I can go on and on about how to engage them. Then you're going to get feedback. I don't sit and try to sell pieces on my Instagram all day long. If somebody wants to buy stuff, they can go to my website. If somebody wants to buy stuff, they can go to my, we have the Las Vegas Dream Factory Instagram. They can see the newest stuff there. I try to tell more of a story of, what is this lifestyle, and what is this, where does this thing I do, and this place that I live. And I think that is the most engaging, is just telling somebody your story. And I think that's how I built it all. I think even today it builds by, I could watch it go. I could watch it, watch where and how it builds and for what. I can see when people are unfollowing me, like you all can. And so, when you do something and you can see a few people unfollow or why, you can kind of tweak it and engage a different, way next time. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about it.
Okay, so I guess any other, you said you could go on and on about like engaging. Any other stuff that kind of comes to mind on that front?
Yeah, I think that if you try to oversell on your Instagram, I don't know that that's the right thing for me and my audience. I know that other people enjoy getting, pitched and sold to. So it might be good for a different product. I thoroughly know my lifestyle. I thoroughly know my audience and my clients. Next year I'll be 30 years selling, pipes at the head shops. So, with that being said, you know, I, 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 so what I've been told, or what I've been listening to, or what I've taken in lately from some of the people that are giving, these marketing pep talks that are coming from outside the cannabis circles, the way they speak and what they're talking about and what their um, thought process is, with trying to teach us how to do this thing in cannabis and cannabis ancillary items. We can't plug the sales item. We can't plug a item from my website into the Instagram and make it a click-through purchase scenario, because of the banking rules and the PayPal and all the bullshit that's gone around this cannabis thing. Then it puts us out of that game. I can't sponsor a post on Facebook. They've never have let me sponsor a post on Facebook. Different things like this. So I could look at that as a marketer and say, gosh darn it, I can't do this, I can't do that. But instead, I'm going to say, well, what can I do? And how can I get the people to see the product? How can I get them to click through? And what I've come to know is that there's this whole sphere of social influencers, and it's the social influencers. It's these people, these hotties. Even though I hate it, I hate these like jokesters or these hotties that make their million followers on cannabis and claiming themselves as a cannabis insider or expert, because they have a nice ass, or because they can fucking eat weed, or do some stupid shit with weed. It's not a good look for our whole industry. All it does is make it silly. It's similar to a strange brew with beer. It's a Cheech and Chong thing with weed. Look, I'm not opposed to it, and I think it is comical, or you can add, comedy or ass into marketing to get sales. But there's a lot of these social influencers that's all they do. And so instead of trying to beat them or get past at them, I'm gonna join them and say, hey guys, I'll give you a free bong if you'll put my website link in your bio for a month, or I'll give you a discount code to give out to all your followers. Everybody that orders, I'll give you $1. Different things like that, to engage these social influencers, to be on my team. because, I fucking, I'll go to a convention. There's a guy there that's been doing this shit for 2 years. That's a funny guy. That doesn't even smoke weed, but he has 1 million followers because he's the cannabis comedian. And doesn't know who I am. And I'm the type of guy where it's like, you know what, you're in this industry, man. You got to know your roots, and you got to know where this thing comes from, and know who's done time for you to be standing right here. So with all that being said, that's my rant on all of it. But on the same note, it's my answer to you saying, that's the key element, is getting the social influencers on your side, and getting them to get your word out there, and be smiling with you, not hating on you. So that's the balance. When you're in this thing like this, and you have that many followers on there, then there's going to be people that hate, or people that troll in there and make nasty comments or rile up things. In this day and age, I've seen companies destroyed, from and what I believe is an ex-employee that's opened up 20 fucking social media accounts to disgrace these people, whether it's you make your shit in China, or whether it's I got sick from using your piece, or whatever the fucking thing is. You know what I mean? They can damage you also. So it's just walking a careful line.
When was there a turning point in building this brand where you took a step back and thought, I did it? Like, I knew in my heart I could make JBD pumping again, and you know, kind of admire that you're able to do that. Was there a turning point?
When cannabis became legal in Colorado for the first time in 2012, I was invited to come do the Cannabis Cup, the High Times Cannabis Cup there. And at that Cannabis Cup was when I knew that in America, weed was going to become legal, and we could bring this thing back for sure. There's no fucking ifs, ands, or buts in my mind. And at that point was when we got a bigger warehouse in New York, and really started to basically, in one sense, buy and sell. So it was dealing with factories that I knew. Like I told you, I would get 100 of this, 100 of that, 100 of this, and then I'd get on there and try to sell them. So that was when I realized, hey, this thing's going to be huge, and we have something golden, because we're still standing here. There wasn't anybody else there at that point, that had gotten arrested, that wanted to come back out and make pipes. So at that point in 2012, second turning point, that happened for our business was, the legalization of cannabis in Las Vegas or Nevada. And during that point was when I knew I could, okay, now I know I have the brand, and I know that there's going to be hundreds of cannabis trade shows, and the biggest ones and the best ones are going to be in Nevada and Las Vegas. And if I get a warehouse down the street from where all the trade shows are, I'll be able to have the buyers all come visit me. And so that's been, my saving grace, is getting the warehouse in Las Vegas. We got it 1 week after legalization, which was July. I think it was July 6th in, what was it, 18 or 17? Anyway, we got it a week after legalization, and we've been there ever since. And it's just been a hot box. It's been a hotbed of activity. We have everybody coming through: baseball players, rock stars, porn stars, rappers, um, tattoo, maestros, just everybody. And so it's been a lot of fun. And so now being in Vegas, and the hype and the energy we've gotten there has really taken our business to the next level.
As we come out the other end of this kind of like period in time with coronavirus in the US, what advice do you have for small business owners who, in many ways, might have to kind of start over from scratch? Or even during this period, like how might they pivot?
You know, Look, it's hard to make real crucial decisions while being emotional. And so as this thing goes longer and longer, there's going to be people becoming more and more emotional, especially as the bank accounts dry up. I'm not sure what, there's a real sense of unsureness as we go into this thing. And so my advice would be to, batten the hatches down, you keep the building, you keep the inventory in there, you keep things safe, keep things clean. And as we start to crawl back through the other side of this thing, we're going to have to sort out bills. And it's nothing. It's not like anything different than you've ever done with business and life and everything else. And we're going to get through it. So, don't jump off the fucking ship right now. Everybody's going to get fucking panicky here in the next week. Trust me. And when all that happens, you need to be solid. You need to keep the doors locked, keep things tight. You know what I mean? And that's it. That's all. Well, I got a Winnebago next to my shop right now with a guy in there, and he's taking care of the business and keeping things, locked down and making sure the wheels are greased.
So over the last well, let me start over. Like, when did you kind of begin rebuilding the business after kind of everything got shut down? Was it right away in '03, or did you wait a couple years?
No, what I did was, in '03, I sent all my stuff to Maui, Hawaii, and by '05, I was out here blowing glass for Art Glass, and by '09, after the bubble popped, is when I started to bring the Jerome Baker bongs back out. Like I said, I kept the skateboards going the whole time, and was hustling skateboards, t-shirts, all that to the stores. So probably '09 is when I started rocking and rolling with a different, going on a different level. And then by 2012, when legalization happened in Colorado, is when I took it to the next level.
How much do you credit keeping the brand going with the skateboards and lifestyle products with being able to rebuild it on the pipe side of things?
The skateboards was a bad emotional decision. I should have never spent any of that money and kept it all and made some headpieces and gotten through my thing with glass. So I don't think that whether I had the skateboard company or not, it didn't. That wasn't what kept me alive. What kept me alive was just my just keeping the wheel turning. So the skateboards, I don't credit them with much of the thing. I appreciate them, and I have some great product from it, and we had some incredible times selling it, and we had an incredible skate team and everything else. But I think I could have been more wise with my decision making processes.
And to be clear, like the art glass, this was like high end art glass that was not functional. In other words, like couldn't be
Correct,
used for
correct. And I
tobacco.
still make that in Maui, Hawaii, and that's still a passion of mine to make art. And so I do that as much as I can too.
Do you think that like the skateboarding stuff could be turned back on as like um, as a product line in and of itself moving forward?
Yeah, we're currently working on, now my business, we're working with a few different people doing licensing programs. One is for hemp. We have two different hemp licenses out there right now with people that are manufacturing with our artwork, our branding, and we just take royalties on that. And the same is going to go for lifestyle and apparel. And so we're currently working with a really cool group out of LA that is developing this new clothing line slash hats and all the other crap that you can think of, and it's really really cool stuff. So I'm excited to kind of get the streetwear vibe going, to get all that fun stuff, the fluff going, that's gonna highlight what we really do, which is make the best glass bongs, right?
How important is it to produce as much of this stuff as possible in the US to you, if it's important at all?
Um, so how important is it to produce something in the U.S.? So my take on all that is that I don't necessarily think, I think using the right tool for the job is the best thing. Some of my favorite cotton comes from South America, from Chile or Peru. Some of the cotton that's made down there in those mills is incredible. And so I would be, stupid to say, hey, man, that soft American cotton, let's find that. Same with some of the stuff that I make for science, the beakers and the condensers. We just did a project the other day making splitters for ventilators, where we're doing, taking a ventilator and making it into from one ventilator, it'll help 4 people. And those pieces we're going to make over in Germany, with top scientific, glass blowers in the world. And so, with that being said, I believe, again, use the right tool for the right job. And if something can be done in better quality, um, you know, by someone else, I'm all for it. There's definitely a lot of downsides to it. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm trying to run over to China and get the cheapest shit made that I can. Um, and on the same note, you know, I want to make sure that we can do whatever we can in America. Goddamn, I'm an American manufacturer. You know what I'm saying? I hire people, I run a crew, I'm making shit right in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so I buy my raw material from Germany. Why? Because they make the best raw material there is. I make the best bongs there are. I sell them all over the world. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want an Australian guy telling me, "Hey, man, you know what I mean? I'd buy your bong, but it ain't made in Australia, so I don't want it." So, I try to follow that in my heart. You know what I mean? I definitely don't want to be working somewhere where we're hurting people, or there's some sort of, blasphemy or fuckery going on with whatever production's going on. So that's my take on it.
Could you speak a little more about your work on the ventilators right now?
Yeah, there's a I'll send you over a email of what I've done recently, and there's a huge movement right now within our pipe making community, because we can just take borosilicate glass, which is extremely sterile. They use it in a lot of hospital environments, and we can take that borosilicate glass and make what looks like a U or a Y, and it's in tubing, and you can take the one ventilator and split the tubes all out so that it runs for 4 people. The normal ventilators that are in hospitals right now are powerful enough that they can pump 4 lungs at once. Right now, they're using them for one. So, it's the past week has been pretty crazy with doing a lot of that kind of stuff
So, like
and
the
getting the
U.S.
word out. I've called a lot of the news organizations in Las Vegas. I called the 3 main hospitals and let everybody know. I sent them all emails, and if they need it, they'll get back to me.
So, like the U.S. cannabis industry then is like saving lives in this
That's
crisis.
correct. That's correct.
How did that get started?
It started about a week ago. There's a kid in Colorado who I saw did the first one. I can get you, his name if you want, and then I took it from there, and we made a couple of our own versions, and then again, we're kind of waiting for the crunch and seeing if they need to come through. I know that there's a big push to get these things out there right now, though.
Definitely. Could you talk about accepting Bitcoin and why you did that and how that's helped, or if it's helped at all?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, Yeah, we started accepting Bitcoin. I don't know how many years ago, but whenever we turned it on I was trading. I make a large piece called a bubbler, and it's pretty much the what most people know me for or remember me for as making these giant bubblers. And so I'll make a giant bubbler, and when Bitcoin first was getting kind of popular, I would trade a bubbler for a Bitcoin when they were in the $700 range. And so I got a few of those deals where we did, I traded a Bitcoin for a bubbler, and then the thing went through the roof. So that was great. Of course, that's great for business. And now I did a deal last week where somebody paid in Bitcoin, and it's just a great way to transact. Somebody comes through Vegas, and if they want to buy an order, they'll be able to just put it in the Bitcoin. It's the most no brainer thing ever. Being that it's a fluctuating currency, it's not fun to spend or or use at the moment. But I feel really powerful being able to take it as a business. I believe every business should take it, and that would make the coin itself much more powerful.
What got you interested into Bitcoin?
Um, Initially, I have a friend in LA that has always been hip. He was the guy who told me about Snapchat first, or Instagram before it came out, or just lots of these little things before they came out. He was the one telling me about Bitcoin, and that was I think $75, and he gave me a little bit at that point, and I had it, and then I watched it kind of go up from 75 to 750, and I was like, wow, this thing's just 10 times this value, and it was nothing. And that at that moment, that's when I said, hey, let me take some Bitcoin, and figured out how to get a wallet from him. I couldn't tell you the year right now. I know that it was before we were in Vegas for sure. I don't know when.
So what's kind of the breaking news at Jerome Baker Designs, and what are you looking at moving forward?
Breaking news at Jerome Baker Designs is we're going to be putting a big glass blowing studio in one of the largest dispensaries in Las Vegas during their new rebuild, and that'll be a real fun time. We're also going to be branding cannabis in Las Vegas. We're working with the largest grower slash vertically integrated dispensary in the state, and they're going to be selling cannabis with the Jerome Baker logo on it. We're going to do a roll your own half ounce. It's called Captain Baker's Pot, and then we do another one that's pre rolls, and we're going to have some eighths and quarters in the mix, chronic triple A's. And over time, we're looking to do some breeding, so we have some of our own strains involved in this program. So with the cannabis, that's great. With licensing deals with the hemp, it's been really good. We've done a lot of sales on that, and just super excited to get out of this quarantine and on with whatever's going to happen in the future, and a new paradigm of life. That's what's going on.
Jason Harris, founder, owner of Jerome Baker Designs. Thank you so much for taking time today to answer some of my questions.
Right on, Justin. Aloha, brother.
Aloha. Thanks everyone for listening.